G'day everyone, Jason Nunn, Fisherman's Warehouse, Tuckerwald, Marks Point, with this Friday's fishing report. And of course, straight behind me here, Salts Bay. That's where it all unfolded last Saturday on the back of our report. And as you can see, there's around about 19 or 20 boats over here at the present moment, getting into some salmon. Salmon have been a little bit fickle on Saturday afternoon. We had 37 boats in the channel from basically down at the bridge all the way up to Blacksmith's Breakwater over towards Lucy's, and there was a tremendous amount of fish around. Even the breakwater up at Blacksmith's, both sides of the breakwater, catching salmon and tailor. A lot of tailor around, and surprisingly enough, some very big brim. Some of these brim, I got reports this week of fish up to almost 43, 44 centimetres in length. So some cracking brim have been pushed out on the back of this latest fresh event which we've had. Had a look at the seas before we come down to do the report today. Look, it's around about 1.5 meters, might be 1.8 on the sets, but it looks like it's starting to die back and that swell acutely south. Of course, this weekend looking like some good blue sky like we promised to bring you, and of course northwest winds tomorrow, Sunday, and probably into Monday before we get a bit of a change around about Tuesday, Wednesday next week. Of course, more rain predicted. Of course, we'd expected that. But look, you've got to make the most of this weekend. I reckon these sea conditions offshore will start to die down. On Monday, a few of the guys were lucky enough to get out and have a bit of a look on this inshore situation. There's still quite a few snapper in close, and the water in close at the present moment, out to about, say, 1 kilometre, is very, very dirty. Once you get past that brown, dirty stain, you start to get into that real greeny type, off type looking water. So on the inshore reefs inside 20 metres, 25 to 20 metres of water, if you're going to use some plastics, a great opportunity, particularly running down south from more or less Moon Island all the way down to Waibung. Some really good inshore reefs down there. I'd be working some plastics through there on that high tide, and of course tomorrow being Saturday, high tide 10:30, it's only 1.5 metres. You've got a 4 o'clock low tide on Saturday afternoon. The high tide is going to be the pick. I've got a great opportunity, I reckon, to get out on that deeper water. Wind strength, they are tipping around about 15 knots of northwest with a bit more northwest on Sunday. Some beautiful temperatures on Sunday. They're saying 20 degrees. So finally we might try to get out of these tunes and get a little bit of warmth. A couple of brave souls did actually venture out last Saturday on my advice, as they told me, from Blacksmith's Ramp. And some very hardy men went down and they had a cracking kingfish in the box. I estimated it to be easy 10 or 12 kilo. A big trag and some other bits and pieces. But again, you've got to get out in that deep water. I think after this big blow again, the areas like the farm all the way down Texas, particularly down towards Terrigal Way on those perch grounds, it'll be the spot to fish when you can get out there. And I think that really tomorrow, as that wind's at around about 15, it will be reasonably comfortable on the back of that swell abating. But there was some big snapper in that deep water, and again, in close, a lot of tailor. Now, I've had some reports up on that breakwater this week. There's a bit of contention, I suppose, with a lot of undersized fish. So, of course, tailor have to be 30 centimetres to be legal. So, I know most of our listeners are abiding by that, but again, you know, we've got a lot of outside influences up there at the present moment. The salmon, as we said, have been a little bit fickle. Alex from work's got some hot tips for any one of the guys that are having a little bit of trouble with these salmon at the moment. Come down and get some advice and get the first-hand information. Alex had a bit of a chance to get out there Tuesday, told us a few techniques of how he's been getting, so he's under the pump and he should be able to produce the goods. One of the boys behind me here just hooked up as we were talking in the orange jacket over here, so I'm just not sure whether he's still on, but this is what you're going to see. And tomorrow with that tide in and around about 10:30, it's perfect. 11:30 on Sunday, ending the school holidays, of course, a great opportunity to get the family out. And that was one thing that I noticed last Saturday when I come down to the ramp. There was a lot of parents loading kids up, and some of these kids and some of the stories that I got this week of youngsters being able to get out here and just catch these Australian salmon was incredible. I had a couple of young fellas, Dave Hutton's kids, came in the other day, and they were very, very proud. And one of them was exercising his arm where he'd wore his arm out on trying to land some of these big guys. It's great to see our young fisher fellas getting out there and having a bit of a go. I reckon this weekend's the one you want to get into. Take advantage of the blue sky. Take advantage of the fish that are in our system at the moment. Reports from the southern end of the lake, a lot of bait fish down that southern end. Tailor, of course, flathead, and there's been a few mulloway. It's funny up on that northern end though, there's not as much bait fish as what's holding down the bottom. I got a funny feeling that possibly is to do with that warmer water. But look, I think whatever you do this weekend, you've got to have a bit of a crack. Last week of school holidays, beautiful blue skies, inside information on the salmon. Come in and see us this weekend. We'll point you in the right direction. See you next Friday.